Hi friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Gene Bytes. It's nice to meet you again in another video. In this week video, I'm going to walk you through the steps for deploying the Fortigate firewall on AWS public cloud. We'll begin as often. This deployment majorly consists of 6 steps. The 6 steps as follows: creating a VPC with desired IP range and subnet, creating the internet gateway for outbound and inbound traffic flow, deploying the Forti VM and log into the management console, configuring necessary components and policies, and we will deploy one test VM in the private subnet without any public IP. Then we will try to access that demo VM through the RDP and we will test the UTM filter. Let's start. For this demo purpose, I have considered AWS Mumbai region. Okay, the first step, as I mentioned, it will be creating the VPC. So I'm giving a name for my VPC. I'm giving Forti VPC for the easy identification. Okay, I change it to Forti VPN, and I have selected the CDIR block 10.10.01/23. So basically I will have the 10.10.00. So basically I have two subnets. One is 1.0/24 and 0.0/24. So my VPC got created. Let's create this subnet now. So I'm going to create two subnets. One is public subnet with the range 10.0.0/24. Let's create it. Your subnet should be within your VPC IP address scope. Okay, got created. Similarly, let me create a private subnet. Private subnet private subnet and CIDR block 10.10.10/24. Done. Okay, let me create it. Yeah, it's got created. Let me create the internet gateway. Internet gateway is necessary for the traffic to flow out of your VPC, and basically for both inbound and outbound internet access you need this internet gateway. I have created an internet gateway, and I'm going to map this internet gateway with my existing or the newly created VPC Forti VPN. Okay, internet gateway is created now. So we have VPC, subnet, and internet gateway. Okay, let me rename it Forti VPC. VPN looks little odd, so I rename it. Okay, we have subnets, we have the internet gateways. Done. So I don't have any running VM in my Mumbai region. I'm going to launch the Forti VM now. In the search bar, I'm going to search Fortinet VM. It's not available in the quick start console. However, it's available in the AWS marketplace. There is a free trial version available for 30 days. You can test it if you want to do any deployment in your AWS cloud. Okay, see the pricing. My trial period is for 1 month. You can see the pricing depend upon the compute power which you are going to select. Okay, since it's a demo, let me select T3 small. T2 is going to end of life soon, so for my deployment I'm going to select T3 small. Okay, other configuration, basically no need to change any other configuration. Only thing we need to consider is just make sure you have two NIC interfaces added to this VM. One is the public leg and one is a private leg. Okay, so you see here I have the NIC with public subnet already there. By default, let me add one more interface, Ethernet 1 with a private subnet. IP address, I'm not going to use the static. Let it assign from the AWS. If you want to have a private, if you want to have a static IP address, you can assign it here. Similarly, the disk, I'm going to use the default disk 2 GB and 30 GB. Since it's a demo, but based on your log size you can change it at any time. Tags is one of the very important feature for the EC billing management and everything. So I have given a tag name, key name, and my Forti VM name. Okay, this is inbuilt security policy. If you want, you can change it later or during the deployment. I already have an existing key pair, so I'm not going to create another key pair. Okay, my instance is getting launched. You can see the status, security groups creating, inbound rules are getting created. Okay, in my instance it got created. Now it's in the launching state. If you click the usage instruction, it will tell you how to access your Forti VM initially through the GUI. Enter the default username and password. The next step, I will tell you how to get the default username password. All the steps are successful. There is no error in the steps. Okay, so my VM got launched. Let's see the status. I'm going back to the EC2 console. Instance state is running, however the status checks showing that still it's initializing. Okay, basically since I have added the two NIC, the AWS will not assign the public IP to my NIC interfaces. We need to manually do it. Let's manually add the public IP. Okay, I'm in the Elastic IP page. I'm going to allocate one IP address. Okay, I'm from the Amazon spool. My IP got allocated. Let me rename it for easy identification. Fortinet public IP, PIP. Save. Okay, I'm going to assign this, associate with an network interface. Okay, I have two NIC interfaces in FortiVM. I know which is my public interface. I have selected my public interface. In case if you don't know, just make sure it from the EC2 console. Okay, otherwise the IP address, from the IP address you can see 10.10.10.0.66 is basically my public subnet. Okay, already the public IP is associated. Now I should be able to access my firewall through the public IP on the HTTPS port. Okay, you can see my ID, my VPC name, subnet, overall information. You can collect it from the EC2 page. Let's try to access the public IP through the browser, through the HTTPS. I'm copying it, putting in the browser, and I'm trying to access the public IP. No, still not working. Something is wrong, or some steps maybe I have missed. Let's double check the configuration again. Okay, still initializing. That may be the reason. Yeah, I know, because I didn't create the route tables. Route table is very important. So let's create the route table for our VPC. We have a route table created, but there won't be any static route. Let's divide the route table into two. One is for the public and one is for the private. Okay, I am giving a name for easy identification, public subnet route table. Okay, save this. Let's see the routes. I see routes only for the whole VPC address, but I need it the default route. Anything, go to my internet gateway, which I already created. Save. Similarly, I need to create one more route for the private subnet. It should go to my the private interface of my firewall. So private subnet route table, VPC, selected our VPC. Okay, and created. And we need to create the routes as well. Okay, private subnet routes. It should go to the private interface of my firewall. Subnet association should be done. Public route table should be associated with public subnet. Private route table should be associated with private subnet. Okay, associated. Respective route tables and respective subnet should be associated. This is a very important step. Okay, fine. Okay, so see, it has only the route which is created by default. Let's create one more route and point it to the private interface of my firewall. Edit routes, add route. So anything, go to my network interface of my Forti VM, which this is my private interface of my Forti VM. Okay, click save changes. Now I should be able to access my Forti VM. Let's go back to the browser. Meanwhile, the status check also got paused. Okay, let's try to access it over the public IP. Just make sure that network interfaces are fine. Okay, and you need to consider one thing as also when deploying an gateway in the AWS. Just make sure you have disabled the source destination check. This will allow the traffic to flow to another gateway apart from the AWS predefined gateways. This is a very important step. Just make sure the status source destination status check is disabled or stopped in our case. Okay, it can be done through the CLI as well. Let me refresh the page. Yes, I see the certificate error. Okay, this is common. Let me try to log in. It's asking me to accept. My default username is admin and the password is instance ID. Instance ID, I can copy it from my EC2 console. Instance ID is very unique for each virtual machine. Okay, copy paste. Okay, it's asking me to change the password. I'm using a password manager tool to create a secure password. Let me just copy paste my secure password from the LastPass, my password manager tool. LastPass is a very good password manager tool. You guys should try it. Okay, click okay. Done. My password got changed. I'm saving it for future purpose. Okay, admin and the new password which we created. Yes, it's login. It's changing that you want to change the host name. Password change completed. Dashboard setup. If you want to do this now, you can do it or later. Let me change my host name to something easily identifiable. Gene Bytes Fortinet, our channel name, and the Fortinet. Okay, dashboard, optimal dashboard I have selected. This is a FortiOS 7, which is the latest one. Nice music. Okay, let's see the interfaces got created. We have two interfaces. One is a public interface and one is private interface. You see the IP address of both the interfaces and what are the administrative access enabled. Okay, both interfaces are up. And see firewall policy, there is nothing. It's a new setup. We can create it later. Okay, you can see the host name, serial number, the license status. So from the status dashboard and security dashboard will give you a comprehensive security score of your firewall. Okay, IPS activated, AV activated, web filtering activated. Okay, and you have the FortiCloud as well. If you have a FortiCloud account, you can activate it with your FortiCloud and send the logs and manage your firewall over the cloud or automate the backups. These things can be achieved with the Fortigate cloud. Okay, instance is running fine, no issues. Let me deploy a test Windows machine or a Linux machine to show people that how the traffic is flowing through the firewall or how the UTM access is working. Let me search Ubuntu. No, I think Windows will be better option because we will have the graphical interface and I can show you on the real time. Okay, let me select Windows 2016 basic or base container. Select and T2 micro, it's a free tier. Okay, other things are default. Just make sure the subnet which you are using is a private subnet. Okay, done. Add storage. Anything behind your firewall should be in the private subnet. Okay, and the security groups you can leave it default. and the keeper, already I have a keeper, so I'm deploying the same keeper. My instance is getting created now. Let's go back to the console. You see there are two instances. One is Forti VM, other one is the test virtual machine, which is Windows 2016. Okay, its instance states still provisioning, status checks yet to be done. Okay, just make sure it got created in the private subnet. I got an IP address in the private subnet, which is 1.13. Let's create an virtual IP and a policy. We can try to RDP with a public IP into this VM. This VM doesn't have a public IP. Still, you can able to access it with the virtual IP. Okay, this is my test VM name. I created an address. Let's create the virtual IP also, which we will use in the policy later. Okay, I'm giving a name for this virtual IP, test VM, test VM virtual IP. Okay, and I have selected my public interface, which is port 1, and external IP address should be 0.0.0.0 because I want all the traffic from the internet. If you know the source address, you can allow only for the source address. Basically, it should be from any external IP. If you select the interface as any, it will give you an error. You need to select port 1, which is your public facing interface. Okay, let's create the firewall policy. So it should be WAN to LAN, so that because the traffic is flowing from internet to the LAN interface, port 1. Outgoing interface should be port 2, which is the private interface. Traffic source would be all. Destination will be our virtual IP, which we created in the previous step. Select virtual IP. Service, you can allow the RDP service if you know, otherwise you can allow all the service as far as you know. Okay, netting, okay, fine. UTM no need, AV no need, IPS no need. Okay, so the policy got created. Similarly, let's create one more policy for accessing internet access to this VM, LAN to WAN. Basically your south to north traffic. Source will be my test VM, that is which you already created. Destination all. Service, you can allow everything, but for testing purpose I am allowing HTTP and HTTPS, so only the internet access these machines will have. No other ports will be open. Netting is enabled. Let's enable the UTM also, the web filter policy for this server. I don't have any predefined UTM filter. I'm going to create one. We can allow and disallow some of the categories and make sure that that category is getting blocked in the test while performing the test. Okay, I'm blocking these contents not required. Just I'm going, as you can understand how many lot of web filter categories are there. Whatever you want block, allow, that's up to you or up to the application which you are running. These contents are useless contents. You can block it straight away. Okay, storage and file streaming are allowed. These contents you can block it, simply right click and click block. Allow, it's up to you. Okay, I'm going to block the online shopping, so we can try to browse amazon.com from the test VM and see if it is getting blocked. Okay, I blocked the shopping category. Amazon.com basically comes under the shopping category. I have selected the test web filter UTM. That policy is getting created. The static route you need to create, which is very important. So I'm going to create a static route in the firewall. So destination should be 0.0, anything flow through my private interface, and gateway should be my private it should be my public interface, and gateway should be the IP address, firewall IP address of my public subnet. It's 10.10.0. Sorry, it's 10.10. I can refer it from here. 10.10.066 dot 0.66. This is my gate. Okay, I need to decrypt the password first. Browse. Let me load the key pass which we created previously. I have downloaded it, kept a copy in my computer. I'm going to browse, select it. This is my private key. I have decrypted the password. It gave me the password. I copied it to a notepad for the further references and further use. Doesn't matter. Whenever you want to decrypt, you can come back to the decrypt and you can decrypt the password. Let me try to RDP into the test VM using the public IP of my firewall. Okay, I'm into the RDP. Click connect. This is my firewall IP basically. It should get me in. I'm prompting for the Windows username password. I'm entering it. It's logging in. Yes. Okay, I'm in. Okay, now I'm into my EC2 test VM. Let's disable the Internet Explorer enhanced mode so that you will not get any error while accessing the internet. It's off. Okay, it's off already. Just make sure it's off, otherwise you will get warning for each and every browsing. Okay, command prompt. Let's go to command prompt and let's ping google.com. It should not work because we didn't allow the ICMP traffic. We allowed only the HTTP and HTTPS. HTTPS, if you remember exactly in the policies. Okay, let me try to open a browser. Internet Explorer, default browser, youtube.com. It should work because the streaming category is allowed in the UTM, if you remember exactly. Okay, if you want to upgrade the browser, you can upgrade, otherwise later you can do it. Okay, it's loading now. Yeah, you can see the contents of YouTube is loading. That means the server can access the streaming media platform without any issues. Okay, Gene Bytes, this is our channel. Guys, don't forget to subscribe our channel. Let's select amazon.in, which is a shopping. See, it's got blocked now. Fortigate intrusion prevention access got blocked. That means our UTM is working fine. Internet traffic is working fine. If you like this video, guys, like, share with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe and provide your feedback in the comment section. Thank you.